African politics and international relations professor Christopher Isike now joins us to unpack the outcomes of the peace and security mission in Niger. Prof, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Clearly, the sanctions by ECOWAS are not working, or it seems like it. You know, what can be done to restore democratic dispensation in Niger at this point?
Well, good afternoon, Natty, and thank you for having me on your show. Well, I would not say that the sanctions are not working, because they are clearly biting hard on ordinary people in Niger. The military government there have actually given indication that people are suffering as a result of the blockages and the electricity cuts and those blockages that prevent importation or supplies to get into Niger, basic supplies. So people are affected by it, and they call this inhuman. And surely they are concerned, and that's why they're expressing this sentiment. So it is affecting people on the ground, and it will eventually affect the credibility of the regime. However, it has not helped to bring an end or get the military to the table. Hopefully, we need to begin to look at other soft power measures, such as the use of influence to try and get the Niger military regime to the negotiation table. And hopefully that will bring a peaceful resolution that will eventually lead to a restoration of democracy.
Prof, I'm not sure if that background noise is from your end, but let's continue here now. So what are then the implications, for the region in as far as this is concerned? I mean, Niger is a top uranium producer. And what about the fight against terrorism in the Sahel?
Yeah, look, that's one of the impacts of this conflict. There are many impacts, and one of it is that it's going to the fight against terrorism in that whole region, which Niger was an important part of, is going to take a knock. And what that does is to give the terrorist groups, the different terrorist groups that operate around that belt, a free rein to do as they please, and that's not good for the entire region in terms of good governance, peace, and security.
Prof, let's talk about the latest now, the claims that President Bazoum may face treason charges. I mean, does the military junta have valid case here?
No, I don't think they have a valid case, because, I mean, what will be the proof of that kind of accusation in terms of what he has done? Let's not forget that the military itself, especially the current head of the military junta, Chiani, has been part of governance and top-level governance in Niger for the past 10 years. So he's been part and parcel of every decision that has been taken by the government that he served before the current one, that he also served and took over power from forcefully. So, I think that they are just throwing this as a wild card, to give them negotiating power, so that will be one of the cards they hold to say, look, we will be able to. We will drop this if you give us that. I think they're just using it as a bargaining tool, because if they really pursue it to its logical conclusion, it's also going to indict top members of the current military regime as well, because they've been part of the whole governance system there.
As we wrap this interview, Prof, we obviously know that the West African bloc, ECOWAS, is expected yet again to meet sometime this week. What are some of the expectations there? I mean, they have said that they've not ruled out still the possibility of using military intervention.
Yes, they've not ruled that out, but that's going to be very challenging, and they know it. That's why they keep postponing their meetings and then also trying to resolve this diplomatically. Countries like Nigeria that are going to play a huge role in underwriting the cost, both in terms of money and in terms of boots on the ground if they do eventually intervene militarily. The legislation, the Senate in Nigeria did not approve for President President Tinubu's authorization, request for authorization to use force. And this is also because of the kind of complexities in terms of the cultural connections and regional connections, religious connections between Nigeria and Niger. So it is a very complex crisis. It's not going to be straightforward in terms of that military option, but I expect that the ECOWAS will continue to use other soft power means to try and get the military leaders on to the table. The African Union, I'm sure, will also intervene in this regard, and eventually I think that this will be resolved on the table rather than through the use of force.